Hi Kitchen Kings and Queens. Okay, today we are going to make something a little different with some Thanksgiving leftovers. Okay, so I don't know if this video is going to show up before I do the turkey video. I have a feeling it will, but I just want to, share with you this recipe. Okay, so today what we're going to make are turkey enchiladas. Okay, and I have to thank Maryanne from what was it? Cavalcade of Foods Facebook or YouTube page. She recommended they were making chicken enchiladas on that channel, and she recommended using turkey, and that's kind of stuck with me in my head because I love turkey, I love Thanksgiving, I love all the sides, but I get tired of eating the same thing. So that's what this recipe is going to be about, to kind of get you to be able to use that turkey, because you probably have the most of the turkey, as another meal and a different meal. Okay, these are enchiladas. Okay, so I'm going to start by using this machine that you may have seen in the corner and said, what the heck is that weird thing? This is a German appliance called a Thermomix, and it's very, very popular in Europe because it takes up a very small footprint, but you can do a multitude of things with it. So we will work on that and do a video just on that. But I'm going to use it as a steamer. Okay, so I'm using corn tortillas. I have flour tortillas. You can use flour tortillas if you prefer. But I think for enchiladas, it just holds them better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this on, and then I'm going to use it to steam. So in the pan here, there is some water. Okay, oh, you know what? That's why it's not turning on, because I don't have it plugged in. There it is. Okay. Sorry about that. I thought I had that one plugged in. I had the blender and the espresso machine plugged in. Okay. So it's got, this thing is, I'm not even going to get into it because it's so intense and involved. Okay, but we're going to use it for a very simple process, just to kind of heat up the tortillas via steam. Okay, so I'm going to set the timer. Sorry, it was just kind of doing its own little thing here, because it was, there's a recipe chip that is connected to it. So that's really cool, but it kind of creates a lot of technical issues, okay? So we're just going to set it to the manual settings and let it go. I'm going to just unplug this thing because it's giving me a bit of a problem here. Alright. Okay. Oh boy. There we go. Okay, so there we go. There's that. Okay, so sorry for that delay. So I just had to set it there. This steamer is called the Varoma. So you have to set it to Varoma, and then you have to turn on the stirring, and that's what gets it going. Okay, so that's gonna steam. You'll see some steam coming out of here. Again, I usually use it with the Cook ID, which is a online recipe book, so that just guides you through the recipe, but since I'm just using it for steaming, we don't need that. Okay, so on to the enchiladas, okay? So I have some leftover parsley here, okay? I'm gonna put that in the bottom of the bowl here, and just, you know, double check in case you have any wilted ones like I do here. You don't really want those in there. They're not bad, they're not gonna hurt you, but they're not gonna be the best for the flavor, okay? Especially with parsley, you want something nice and fresh with parsley, okay? So just make sure that you do that. And we're doing this all with Emmie. So Emmie's gonna be the star of the show today. Okay, she's gonna slice and dice and shred, and she's gonna do all her little chores here. Okay, so to get it started, we're just gonna put the lid on, and we're gonna just get that parsley going a little bit. And just like her boyfriend Oscar, she has that turn on and off function. Okay, so there's a couple heavy stems in there, so we'll take them out. Okay, the next thing we're gonna put in there is the peppers. And I have a variety of peppers here. One of my coworkers brought in peppers to school and was giving them out. So there's all kinds of good peppers in here. So we have one red bell pepper, one green bell pepper, and then we have an assortment of spicy peppers. Okay, so there's a jalapeno, a Scotch bonnet. There is a maybe like a Fresno or Serrano in there. So there's just kind of a whole mix of peppers. And I seeded and deveined them because all of those peppers were going to be really hot. So not that I don't like that, but I might be sharing this with other people. So not everyone has the same propensity towards heat that I do. Okay, so that's one red pepper, one green pepper, one jalapeno seeded and deveined, one Serrano or Fresno seeded and veined, and one Scotch bonnet. Okay, so we're just going to chop that up. Okay, we want this all diced up. I'm going to cook it in the pan here. And I'm going to add in just to kind of, because those are all kind of the same temperature, I'm going to add them, and then I'm going to do the onions separate. So I also have like 4 things of garlic, or 3 cloves of garlic, 1 shallot, just kind of quartered. So I did all this chopping ahead of time so that we could kind of shorten up this video. So we're just going to take out that hard piece. Okay? You know what? Emmie's doing a good job. I think we can put some of this onion in there too. Let's see if she can handle it. Okay? So we're going to put half of that onion in there and see how she does. Okay, so I'm going to take out those and put them in there. Okay, so we're going to pop that in for a little bit longer. We'll do these onions separate because we don't want, we want the onions to be all the same size. Okay. Okay, so I put a little bit more time in there just so that it steams up. Okay, so. So add a little stubborn bit of onion, we'll do that all together. Okay, but this, at this point, is now like a sofrito. Okay, so that's even better. So I'm going to put some olive oil in this enormous pan. And I want the pan to just kind of be big because I want the surface area. So this can all just be cooked. Okay, so there's just some extra little pieces in there. And we are really finely grated now, so I want everything that's together to be together. Okay, so we want this to just cook off the moisture and just soften a little bit. Okay, that's all we're looking to do here. Okay, so this is going to be our vegetables and our flavoring, okay? And if you have picky eaters, this is a great way to pop a bunch of vegetables in. Just make it into like a very fine chop, and your picky eaters will not really know the difference, okay? It'll just be seasoning, okay? So if you are looking to get more vegetables in your loved ones' lives, use a food processor and really chop it up. Okay, so we're gonna put the onion in, and the onion I'm gonna chop more of like a dice, okay? So you can see here with the food processor, you really have to, prepare. It doesn't do everything for you. Okay, you have to make it so that it fits, and you have to make it so that all the pieces are similar, okay? Similar size. Okay, so we're just gonna do that with the onion now. And these little bursts are what you're looking for, because you want the vegetables to go into the plate, okay? And if sometimes you have too much in there, okay? So this is too much, these big chunks here, okay? So the longer we leave them in there, the more finely chopped our onion's gonna be, and I want that to be kind of a little more rough cut, okay? So we're gonna take those out and put them into the oven, or into the pot here. Speaking of oven, while I'm over here, I'm gonna preheat the convection oven to 375. Okay. It won't take very long, but okay, and we're gonna mix our onion in with that. Okay. A nice big pan like this, we could shake it like that, and it really does a good job. Okay. Okay, pop our other pieces of onion in there. Okay, so Emmie's done her chopping and grating, or I'm sorry, her chopping and mincing. So we're going to put her last little batch in there. And I'm also going to put in some corn. Okay, so one of the dishes I normally make is a scalloped corn dish for Thanksgiving, which is really good. But I didn't make it this year. I just kind of ran out of time. So I'm going to use some of this corn in my enchiladas. Okay, so I'm going to put about half of the bag in there. And they're really nice yellow golden corn. Okay, so we're just going to kind of disperse them throughout so that they get a little char on them as well. Okay, I'm going to turn up the heat because we really want to get this going because we're pretty much done. Okay. So we're going to use Emmie for one more task, and then we're going to be done with her. Okay, so we're going to get her bowl over here, and we're going to use her for one of her other tasks that she's very good at. Okay, which is shredding. Okay, so we're going to put this blade on, which is a reversible, so we have it reversed to the shredding side, and let me tell you, that's happened to me before where that hasn't worked, okay, because I used the slicing side. Okay, so we have two cheeses here that we're going to slice. Okay, one of them is a British cheddar, and the other one is a British Gloucestershire. Okay, so we're going to put that one in first. And we're just going to turn it to that's it, we're done. Okay, so Emmie made easy work of that. Okay, so we're going to mix that. I'm also going to use a Mexican blend shredded cheese, and we're not going to use all this cheese. I'm going to use some of it to add to my leftover mac and cheese because that just didn't have quite enough cheese for me. Okay, so this isn't all going to go into that dish. Okay, where's the turkey? Where's the meat? Okay, here it is. So there's 2 bags of turkey here. Okay, this is some of the white meat, and I was originally going to chop this in Emmie, but I think I want nice big pieces, and you know it's a very quick cut in the food processor, so they can go from over chopped or under chopped to over chopped in a very short amount of time. Okay, and I'm using some of the thigh meat here. Okay, some of the dark meat as well. Okay, you can see over here the steam is coming up, so our tortillas will be great. But I'm going to dice up this turkey, okay? And you want nice, nice tasty pieces. So if there's any like bits that don't feel like they're gonna be nice while you're doing it, just take them out, okay? Like any tough bits or things like that, just take them out so that you get a nice bit of meat in your turkey, okay? And I'm gonna do this into basically like a 2-inch dice, okay? So if you have a long piece, cut it in half, and then just cube it up, okay? And again, anything that seems like it might be tough or stringy, you don't want that in there, okay? So our vegetables are sweating away over there, and we're gonna be ready to add this turkey soon, okay? And like I said, I think that this recipe will probably be posted before the turkey one gets up, because that one's pretty long and I'm having trouble getting it onto YouTube. I have the video all made and edited, but it's just not letting me upload because of storage issues. You saw my agitation with the storage issues. Okay. Okay, and you want like really nice chunky meaty pieces in there. Okay. I really wish I thought I had a bigger can of enchilada sauce, but I don't. I only have a small can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use half of the can in the mixture, in the filling, okay? And then I'm going to use the other half to top it, okay? So here's our turkey all diced up. We're going to add that to our vegetables here so that it heats up and absorbs some of these delicious flavors here, okay? Man, this is a big skillet. This is like a 13 or 14-inch skillet, but it really does the job. And our vegetables have sweated. They're just about ready. We're just going to leave this turkey in there for a little bit just to heat up. Then we're going to switch over here and start rolling our enchiladas. Okay, we'll put it in that pan. We'll take out our quesadillas, or not our quesadillas, our tortillas, and we will start rolling. Okay, so let me open up the cans here. So here's our enchilada sauce, and the other can I have is for some green chilies. And usually I would use 2 of these, but I have all those peppers in there, so I just need this one can, because it's not, these are very mild, so it's not like this is a, you have to worry about it like overpowering the dish. They just kind of add a little nice flavor. So we'll add them in. Spoon here. Okay. And just stir it in there. Okay. And we're going to add a little bit of seasoning. So the turkey, as you'll see, was seasoned really, really well. Okay. But, you know, you want you want to add some seasoning. Okay, so I'm adding about a teaspoon of the dried shallots, ground shallots. Okay, I'm adding about a teaspoon of Hatch green chili ground. I'm going to add some freeze-dried chives. I have fresh ones. You could add fresh if you want, but it's okay. The flavor's a little more intense with the dry. Okay, I'm going to add this spicy seasoning, which is basically just pepper, some garlic powder, onion powder. So these will just amp up the flavor of the fresh vegetables in there. Okay, a little of this quesadilla seasoning that I got at Lidl. It's just kind of, southwestern spices. And then a little sprinkling of garlic salt. Okay, not a lot, okay? So I'm going to take my spoon here, make sure the seasoning is all distributed throughout. We're going to take off the heat here and make sure all of that delicious seasoning is mixed throughout. We're going to transfer it to this bowl. I need to eat my Wheaties. This is a heavy pot and a hot pot. So, we got our filling now, okay, and look at that, perfect timing. Our tortillas are done, okay, and they are nice and steamed, pliable, so we're ready to go. I just want to see if I have a little bit of, yes I do, okay, a little bit of sour cream, okay. Usually I have Mexican crema in here, but I don't today. So I'm going to use the sour cream. Okay. So I just want to add a little bit of that to kind of cream it up a little bit. Okay, so we'll use a different. Okay, thank you. That was lovely. Appreciate that little song you sung for us, Thermomix. Okay, so we're just going to add that in there just to kind of cream up this mixture. Now you don't have to do this, okay? But I just think it adds a little bit of richness and stuff. So we're going to put some, I'm going to put some in the bottom. Okay, you want a nice layer in the bottom. And I'm going to put like a quarter in there, okay? And we just want to coat the bottom of our pan with the sauce. This we're going to reserve for the top. And then we're going to put use our tortillas. And this is great for these kind of ones that are not your most beautiful tortillas, okay? It doesn't matter. They're going to be kind of rolled up, so it really doesn't matter what they look like. Okay, so just going to blend up this cheese so that we get a mix of the two. And I think actually I'm going to put this Mexican blend in them and then use the cheddar with a little bit of this on the top, because that's kind of the cheese you get. But this is like a more mild, a more southwestern blend. So put some of that on the inside. And get my assembly line here. There. Okay. And just a little of that other cheese. And then we're just going to roll them up. Make them nice and tight like a baby. And we're going to put them in their little bath here. Okay, and you're just going to keep going. I'm going to try and get all of these tortillas just because I don't really, they're already steamed, they're all ready to go. So we don't want to use them for something else or let them sit around. Okay, you can make turkey tacos if you want with the leftovers, but we're just gonna see how many we can use. And I'm kind of starting with these janky ones so that it gets easier as I go along. Okay, so put a nice scoop of filling in, put your cheese on, put this cheese on, start with the janky side, and we're just going to kind of roll them up. Okay, there we go. I think this is our last janky one. Nope, there's a couple more. And this is, I mean, yes, there's cheese in it. Yes, there's, I added sour cream in it. But in general, this is it's a lot of vegetables. It's a lot lighter than Thanksgiving meal, so it's just it's gonna be really nice. And a nice, unique way to use the leftovers, hopefully. That you guys see it that way, in a different way, okay? So again, put our cheeses there. We're gonna roll it up. Keep going. Okay, that was the last janky one. So now we got the nice looking ones. Okay, and I don't know if that's a Philly word or what, so if you're wondering what the heck is he saying janky, and that's like I think a Philly slang for something that's like messed up or busted, as the kids say. You know, just kind of something that's not perfect. Okay, looking bad, looking rough. Okay. All right, so there's that. Look at this. I think we may use all of our tortillas. Now, interestingly enough, we're gonna have quite a lot of filling, so I'm gonna have to figure out something else to do with that filling. Because that's a lot of extra filling. Alright, let's see here. Not a lot. It'll be like half of it. You know what I'll probably do? I'll probably make like a Mexican type lasagna with the filling. Okay, so there is our enchiladas. Okay, look at that cute little. You know what? Let me try and put another half layer here. I think I could do another half, or another side by side for these side ones. Okay, that'll help things out. And you may have noticed I kind of switched what I said I was going to do. I'm actually using this sharp British cheddar in with the enchiladas, and I'm going to use the Mexican on top. Okay, so I love flour tortillas, especially for enchiladas, but they get kind of gummy. That's the one complaint I have. So I'm kind of switching up what I normally do, and I am instead using these corn tortillas. One, because I had them. I do have flour tortillas too, but these are the right size. Okay, there we go. That's perfect. All right, so here are our enchiladas naked. So we gotta top them, and we're gonna top them with the remainder of the enchilada sauce. And you know, someday I'm gonna learn to make my own because I'm sure it's better. But this does the trick. And you know, for now, it'll work. Okay, then you're gonna put your cheese. Okay, so I'm gonna put some of this cheddar, this British sharp cheddar blend of sharp cheddar, British cheddars. Okay, and then I'm gonna really focus on this Mexican blend. Okay, and you may notice here, this is a fine shredding. Okay, so it gets kind of in those places that the other cheeses don't, that the sharp cheddar, because that's more of a coarse grate that Emmie did. So you just want to give it like a nice little blanket of cheese there. Okay, and then we're gonna bake it. And you can bake this really to your own liking. I'm gonna bake it for 20 minutes at 375 and see where we're at. Okay, because I like it kind of baked up. Okay, so I like a nice firm baking on it. Okay, so we'll just check back at that time and see where we're at. What I'm looking for me personally with this is I want a nice, like the cheese nicely melted, and I want the everything to kind of bubble together and become, if you could see like the edge of the tortillas kind of getting a little brown, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay, for me personally. But however you like it, okay, just keep an eye on it because everything is cooked. Okay, there's nothing raw here. So if you just kind of want it to set up, you could do it for that amount, or you could wait and let it get all bubbly. Okay? So bye for now, Kitchen Kings and Queens. We're back. So I figured I'd end somewhere a little different. This is my dining room. You've seen it if you watch the vintage kitchen collections, but this isn't really set up for dining. I had 8 people here for Thanksgiving, and it just is a very nice, cozy room. So I'm going to start ending my meal or my videos in here, tasting and eating at the table. Okay? So we have our enchiladas here. We got them nice and bubbly and cheesy, and they are just ready to taste. Delicious. They have a very nice fresh taste. They have a very rich taste. There's a nice level of spice there. Everything is just kind of together. The tortillas are really holding up because they're corn. They don't get mushy. This is a very nice dish. So I hope you try it. I hope you please share any fun recipes that you have with leftovers. There's tons of things: turkey tetrazzini, all kinds of different ways to reuse turkey. But for me, this is hitting the spot. Yesterday we went to get the tree. We usually go to this place called the Salt Box, which is a pretzel place, and they have pretzels and ice creams, stuffed pretzels, Philadelphia style pretzels. And they were closed. Usually they're open on Black Friday, but they were closed. And that was our tradition. We'd go there, get the pretzels, have a little snack there, and then we would go to the tree farm, which is called AGA Farms in like Bedminster area up near Dublin and Quakertown. And it's just a really nice experience. But right near there is a Mexican restaurant that we like to go to called El Mariachi. And we had all these dogs, so we couldn't go there. So I was just really craving something Mexican or Tex-Mex or Southwestern, and this really hit the spot. I wish you a very happy holiday season, and I hope everyone has lots of fun, lots of time with family, and lots of delicious meals. Bye for now, Kitchen King.